Good day, learners. Today we're going to discuss the chapter 19. So, if you have money, how would you spend it? You would buy products, right? You would buy your necessities. So, but did you know that poisons or toxins are all around you in the environment, in your home, and in the products you use every day? And that's what we're going to discuss today. So the purpose of this lesson is to help you. First, to identify different types of toxins, then develop students' ability to analyze how toxins accumulate and magnify in the food chain, and lastly is to encourage you to learn on how to apply responsible practices to reduce toxin exposure. Alright, so first let's have a guess activity. What's in my home? Spot the toxins. So for my instruction, first is you have to look. I will look for 10 participants in the class. Then the 10 students will each receive a words. These are the words that contains a common household item. Now the students will place the pictures on the table of safe and toxic chart and be asked to decide. So you're going to answer questions. First question is this item safe or toxic? Then, what toxic might this item contain? And how will this toxic affect human health or the environment? Now, number 4 is, after all the cards are sorted, I will discuss the correct answers and explain how toxins are present in everyday life. Alright, good job! Now that you have done our guest activity, let's now proceed to our discussion. Okay, so for you, what is toxic gas? Toxic means it is extremely harmful, even in small doses. It interferes with basic cellular function that eventually would lead to someone's death. So, unsa ang toxin? It is a very harmful substance. Okay, now let's further discuss what are the different types of toxins. Okay, so our first toxin is allergen. It is a substance that triggers overactivation of the immune system, and its health effects are allergic reactions, anaphylaxis, and airway swelling. So, allergens are not technically considered common toxins. Rather, they are typically harmless substances that the immune system mistakenly identifies as a threat, similar to a toxin. Right? So, these are the examples of the allergens. First is the peanut, the bee sting, and the formaldehyde, or for the sick building syndrome. So this formaldehyde is used for construction. Right, so these are the examples of the allergens. Now, moving on, let's have the carcinogens. So carcinogens are the chemicals that lead to uncontrolled cell growth and tumor formation or cancer. It overlaps with mutagens. So mutagens, we will discuss that later. But first, let's have the example of carcinogen. So unlike acutely toxic substances that cause immediate severe damage or death at high doses, most carcinogens are chronically toxic. Their harmful effects typically manifest only after repeated or long-duration exposure, often with latency period of many years. So if we are exposed with it for a longer period of time, then that's the time that the effects of the carcinogen are evident. So these are the examples of the carcinogen. So first is the asbestos. So there are common uses of asbestos. It can be used in auto parts, in building materials, in cement, also in electrical parts and insulation. So those are the examples of asbestos. So asbestos is used in building materials. The next one is the endocrine disruptors. So endocrine disruptors are the chemicals that interfere with hormone system. Can mimic natural hormone or block them or interfere. Right, so for endocrine disruptors, because of their ubiquitous presence in everyday products and the environment, combined with their ability to interfere with the highly sensitive hormonal system, even at very low doses, it affects how our hormonal system functions. So these are the examples of the endocrine disruptors. The first is the BPA or the bisphenol A. So bisphenol A, we will discuss that later. These are the examples: the phthalates, the certain pesticides, and the fluorophyllic substances. So the PFAS are the water-resistant clothing, the paint, the cosmetics, the fire-fighting foams, the personal care products, also the non-stick cookware. and the fast food packaging, the stain-resistant furniture, and the stain-resistant products. So those are the examples of the PFAS. That is under the endocrine disruptors. Now moving on, let's have the mutagen. So mutagen, it was mentioned here, the carcinogen, it overlaps with the carcinogen and the mutagen. So mutagen, these are the substances that damage genetic material or the DNA, RNA that causing potential mutation. This would lead to birth defects, heritable changes. So mutagens are considered a common type of toxin because they can cause permanent, damaging changes or mutations, again, to an organism's genetic material or the DNA, and many are widely distributed in the environment, the food, and common exposures like sunlight and tobacco smoke. So these are the examples of the mutagens. The arsenic, the certain metals, and forms of radiation. So that's why it is important that for those mga pregnant women, they are in a sensitive state. So they should be in comfortable, and also they are aware of these things. Like the radiation examples, like the sunlight, the X-rays, the microwave ovens, the radio waves, the ultraviolet light, and the Wi-Fi signals. So those are the examples of the mutagen. Especially the MRI scans, no? So that's the very thing na dapat the pregnant women should be aware. The next one is the neurotoxin. Alright, so neurotoxin. Neurotoxins, it interfere with the nervous system, the brain, nerve, the signal transmission. And it can cause paralysis if there's an exposure of neurotoxins, also the cognitive or motor impairment, the development damage. So neurotoxins, due to their widespread presence in both natural and human-made environments, and because they target the fundamental functions of the nervous system which are essential for survival across diverse species. So these are the examples of the neurotoxin. First is the lead, the mercury, especially methyl mercury, some pesticides, and the plastics. So mercury can be seen in the light or in skin lightening products. So also na-attempt din nga lata and all of those plastics. So those are the examples of the neurotoxins. We are exposed with it every day. We have it every day, and it is an example of the toxins. Now, let's move on to the teratogens. So teratogens. Teratogens are the substances that causes development defects in fetuses when exposure occurs during pregnancy. Now, the effects range from low birth weight, also malformation or fetal death. Okay, so teratogens, they include a wide range of substances, conditions, and environmental factors that people encounter in everyday life, even if they are not typically considered toxic outside of pregnancy. So alcohol is a classic. Neurotoxins may also act as a teratogen. Right, so there's a merge sila, neurotoxins and teratogens. So these are the examples of the alcohol that is considered as a teratogen.